Welcome back. Here is shear acceleration part 2, proving the spinning ball. As we have discussed, someone at the North Pole will experience a different sensation than someone at the equator. And as we said, both of them are almost to the point of being negligible, forgettable, no big deal. However, this person, standing at 45 degrees north, does have some interesting things happen. And what we said and discovered is that, as most of us have been told, gravity pulls toward the center of the earth. Even that's a definition of gravity. Wherever you are, how do you know where's down? Down's toward the center of the earth. And what we saw is the centrifugal effect actually pulls away from, at an angle away from gravity. And we saw that the net result, the effect at 45 degrees, gravity is shifted off by, we'll continue this drawing to be the concept of a plumb line that hangs straight down. It's shifted off slightly. So it's shifted this way. And we showed that it is shifted that way 0.1 degrees. Now, you might say that's very small. It is small, but remember it's 360 degrees to go all the way around. 90 degrees would be this direction. And we showed that at 10 feet, counts to 1/4 of an inch, about. Is that measurable? Yeah, I can measure that if I'm building a wall, because it will only be in the southern direction, toward the south. So we're going to look more at what's going on right there. We talked about a tangent being a line that touches a circle at exactly one point. Again, in the black color in the green color, I'm going to draw the plumb line, which would point to the center of the earth. And it is, by definition, perpendicular to level ground. This would be a surface of water. This would be a spirit level sideways. Is perpendicular to a Plumb-Bob. At the 45 degrees, the Plumb-Bob is shifted southward. So if this is the hinge point, it's shifted southward. And of course, I'm exaggerating, otherwise we wouldn't be able to see it. The Plumb-Bob is shifted southward, so also must be level. You could not have a Plumb-Bob anything different than at a right angle to the surface of water. So what we find here is that flat at the 45th parallel begins to tilt outwards. How far does this Plumb-Bob swing? It swings until it reaches equilibrium between the centrifugal effect pulling it southward and gravity pulling it downward. This level is off the same amount as the plumb line. So our gray level has shifted up 1/10 of a degree as our plumb has shifted south 1/10 of a degree. So what does this mean? So if we have, I will draw the northern hemisphere. At the North Pole, we have the average radius, the equator, the average radius, and here we don't have a tangent line any longer. We have an exaggerated, tilted upward level so that it is parallel with our Plumb-Bob. This is both the cause and the effect of the oblate spheroid. This would be a chord. It connects two portions on the surface of the sphere. But it will be exaggerated. So instead of being there, it will be exaggerated out in this direction. Well, then the Earth has to connect there. So then the next chord connecting this point and this point will not be here. It will be out here connected and yet again exaggerated. When we're done with this, we're going to get a shape that is squished at the poles and exaggerated at the equator. And my point being, we can calculate it, we can even model it based on the shift of gravity, based on the centrifugal effect of the spinning globe. But now it gets interesting. So let's look at this again. Where I live, it does not seem like we're falling off over here at 45 degrees. It seems like the ground is flat. So I'm going to draw the flat ground again. I'm going to draw our man. Where we live at the 45th parallel, it does not seem like we're falling off the side. It seems like we have flat and level ground just like everybody else on the planet. So we'll draw our blue man, and we're going to say that he had the capability of telling what was straight down. So he knew what was straight down toward the center of the earth, as most of us have had gravity defined to us. If he knew where this green line went, he would have an exaggerated swinging of his Plumb-Bob southward. So this is swinging out south. Well, what if he also had a balloon in his? The acceleration in the southerly direction is going to be equal in all of these spots, almost like a breeze, a constant breeze. If it pulls the Plumb-Bob away from its pivot to the 10th of a degree, what will it do with the balloon? I posit that the balloon will be deflected at the same 1 degree, 0.1 degree. It will move, it will shift, it will bend southward away from its point of pivot until it reaches equilibrium. It reaches equilibrium when the air on each side of it is still, and when it is obeying the forces applying on it. The rise of the helium balloon would be directly with the green, except it's shifted off toward the south. So we'll draw the same picture again, except I will draw the blue man not on the theoretical level, but on the shifted, and I would draw it exaggerated, of course, otherwise you couldn't see it, the shifted new level. So he is no longer standing in line with the center of the Earth. He is standing shifted up like this, so that his Plumb-Bob will drop perpendicular to his ground level. What about the balloon? Is the balloon in line with the Plumb-Bob? The balloon is off 0.1 degree from the theoretical plumb. The Plumb-Bob is off 0.1 degree from the theoretical bob, which makes, if we line up our frame of reference with the actual apparent Plumb-Bob, then the angle of the balloon is exaggerated by 2. The balloon moves off at double our shift rate, 0.2 degrees. So if we could measure being off by 1/10 of a degree, 1/10 of a degree is 1/4 inch at 10 feet, 1/10 of a degree is 2 inches at 100 feet, 2/10 of a degree, or 20% of a degree, is going to be double that. And yes, I think we can see that. So what I propose is, living where I do at the 45th parallel, go into a gym or something else that has a roof with some structures on the roof, like pipes or otherwise. And if you connect a Plumb-Bob and hang it straight down, almost to the floor, where there's no wind and it's nice and calm, let's say that this is a 50-foot ceiling. This will define a square if the concrete slab and the ceiling are square. Next, get a balloon that floats and secure it to the floor so that you can compare the line of one with the line of the other. And if I'm right, the lines will be off in the north-south direction by 2/10 of a degree. Or at 50 feet, that would be 2+ inches. So either you could line up where they meet at the floor, or you could somehow line up where they meet at the ceiling. But this is most definitely measurable and doable. So if they line up in the north-south direction, I would call that inconclusive. If they are off by 0.2 degrees, then I'm going to say it's caused by the centrifugal effect.